Your belief determines your life. Marxists claim that, in the end, human behavior is shaped by economic circumstances. Freudians attribute everything that influences our lives to repressed sexual instincts. Behavioral psychologists look at human beings from the perspective of stimulus-response mechanisms. Humanists attribute the capacity for self-realization as something decisive in the course of their lives. Atheists, on the other hand, say that biology and the environment are pillars for shaping our lives and decisions. We Christians know that the Bible teaches that the dominant factor in the choices we make is our supreme belief or religious commitment. Our lives are shaped by the God we worship, whether the God of the Bible or another substitute deity. Nancy Pearcey in Absolute Truth. If a person in an honest quest admits the existence of God, it will inevitably lead him to serious research in the search among the many gods proposed, which is the true God. Obtaining the answer, it would also be inevitable not to seek to know this God, his nature, purposes, designs, and wills, especially to his creatures including the human being. In the specific case of Christianity, our God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, his nature, essence, and purposes are revealed in his Word, the Holy Bible. I have been working a lot on these topics on this channel. You can check them out in the various videos. However, I highlight a few for the purpose of this video. The Christian worldview elevates the human being by exhorting him to live the maximum of his virtues, such as agape and altruistic love in its fullness, which will lead to charity, forgiveness, respect, justice, empathy, equality of people and genders, fraternity, among many others. Some say that religion has only brought wars, violence, and so many bad things to humanity. The truth is that all these evils were done by men in the name of the divinity, and not the other way around. I could make a case for this aspect and describe the advances and benefits we enjoy today as a result of the Christian worldview, but for this video it is not the goal, perhaps in another. On the other hand, when the human being admits the non-existence of God, the best explanation for his questions is evolutionism, humanism, or another philosophy where man and his reason is the final measure for all things. The problem is that in this belief there is a package of ideas and consequences that many do not even imagine. I fully understand that for men, these ideas are very comforting, since instead of depending on a superior being to determine their destiny and morality, the atheist and humanist places the responsibility in the hands of the individual. This generates a sense of empowerment and autonomy, allowing the person to make their own decisions and pursue their own values. The human being decides for himself what is right or wrong, by excluding the supernatural. Materialists can avoid the possibility that anything is morally forbidden. If God does not exist, everything is permitted. A famous evolutionist once said when asked, "Why do people believe in evolution?" To which he replied sincerely, "The reason we accept Darwinism, even without proof, is that we do not want God to interfere with our habits. We want to have freedom to do what we want without restriction. The main motivation is moral preferences, not scientific evidence. The detail is that accepting man and his reason as the ultimate measure of all things collapses all concepts of morality, justice, love, equality, equity, charity, altruism, among many others, as I have already said. For example, if each individual is this measure of his or her morals, it becomes difficult to establish universal ethical principles that serve as the basis for justice. Different people may have divergent moral values and beliefs, which can lead to conflict and difficulty determining what is fair and what is not. The same reasoning applies to laws and legal systems that are based on moral and ethical principles. Without absolute truths, it becomes difficult to ground law on an objective and immutable basis. This can lead to arbitrariness in laws and a lack of consistency in the application of justice. If morality is subjective, so will the interpretation of laws. Think, like fighting against manipulation and abuse of power by those who hold positions of authority. Without a universal moral sense, leaders and powerful people can use their positions to benefit themselves at the expense of others. In fact, this is the principle of evolutionism: the strongest prevails. How to fight racism based on evolutionism? There is simply no way. The ideas of superior races, eugenics, and others arose from interpretations of evolutionary philosophy. How to base love on natural selection? It is also not possible. Altruistic love, with all its nuances, goes against the principles of natural selection. Instead of seeking to maximize their own survival and reproduction, the individual who shows love may put themselves at risk or invest resources in another individual, with no guarantee of reproductive return. As the title of the video says, yes, our beliefs determine our lives and have their consequences, both in the personal life of the individual and the society in which they live. To embrace atheism, you have no choice. You have to embrace principles intrinsically linked to it, such as the depreciation of the value of human life, since to survive, perpetuate and improve the species, anything goes. Wars, among others. One day, I read the transcript of a discussion between some feminists and an evolutionary scientist. They vehemently defended the punishment of a rapist, to which the scientist asked them, "On what basis do you defend this punishment?" So they had to emphasize the truths of Christianity, even though they were humanists. They were even severely reprimanded by the evolutionist. Yes, to defend the dignity, worth, and equality of humans, we need the foundations of Christianity.